Hi, my lovelies. Welcome back to my channel. So, I'm in a space of trying to figure out if right now, in this moment in time, is a good time for me to start telling the story of my last situationship. Um, I really need to vent about that. That is probably one of the most psychological mindfucks I've ever been in my entire 37 years of life. And I'm trying to decide if right now is a good time to divulge or if I should choose another time. So hold on. Let me let me do something real quick. Let me see what I can change her name to. Um so what are we gonna call this girl? Jewel. Let's call her Jewel. That's the perfect name. It's synonymous with her real name. So let's take it back to the very beginning. Um, y'all gotta be patient with me. I'm gonna have to speed this up because I'm sure I'm gonna be taking some mental breaks, some pauses, and I'm gonna have to do some clipping. I'm sure it's gonna be some clipping going on in order to fully get the full picture of everything that happened. Um, so I joined a dating website. Okay, so let me take it back a little bit further. Okay, so I got to California. Um, I was, we'll just say travel nursing. We'll just say I was travel nursing. I'm not a nurse, but we'll just say travel nursing, right? So I came to the OC, Orange County, California, because I was on a travel assignment, right? And so I was here for my first, I got here in August of last year. So August of last year, what is this, 2026? So 2025, right? Um, and I was very vibrant, happy, and excited for what's to come in life. Um, I was excited and I was ready to take my life into a whole new direction. So I'm just setting the stage for pretty much what my energy looks like before meeting this Jewel person, right? Before meeting Jewel. So I was on a good trajectory, right? I was working out, I was doing all this and that, and I was getting my body back in shape. So at this time, I will be honest, I was probably around like 170 pounds. So I wasn't fully feeling myself, but I was feeling myself, if you get it. Like I was in that energy. I was working out, I was making videos, even though I wasn't in the weight category I wanted to be in, right? Like I know how to do the damn thing, you know? So walk with me, talk with me, right? And so um what had happened was I finished out that assignment. So that was August, May, June, July. Wait, no, what? I just fucked that up. August, September, October, November. I fucked that up. My bad. I'm gonna have to cut that out. Um, So yeah, I finished that assignment out around November, December-ish. And so I was just chilling for all of December. And then I ended up getting a very prestigious job at a hospital out here near the beach, which was, I was just so excited. Not only that, I was working on getting my driver's license. Like, if you know, you know. I don't think I've talked about it much on my channel, but I have real bad driving anxiety. So I don't like driving at all. But I had started working on it around December, I think ish, maybe November, late November ish. Um, I had set out to make sure I got my driver's license. And I was like, we're going to do the damn thing. Like, I'm in a space where it's like my life was just on an upward motion. As soon as I left Arizona in August and I got here in California in August, my life was pew, like it was on a upward trajectory. So I was on a high for months, like for months, right? So I started out in Santa Ana. And then around December, when I started my new job, is when I moved to Costa Mesa. And that's where things started to get a little dicey. I started to notice that my energy was like changing a little bit, but it wasn't changing to the point where like I was getting off track, if you get my drift, right? So then I decided, okay, I think I'm ready to start dating again. And we're talking, I probably got back on the dating app. That was in the spring ish. So we'll say, fast forward, I'm working in my new job and everything. Um, well, at my new hospital, I should say. But it's still in the same career field that I was working in, but I'm in a new hospital near the beach. I'm on a high right now, and I'm just, I'm soaking everything in. I'm like, ah, I love California. Everything is working out for me, and I'm so fucking happy, right? So I decided somewhere around like maybe, if it's not early April, I would say late March. So I ended up getting my driver's license, and that was on a high. I got my driver's license like 2 days before my birthday, which is March 11th. So March 9th, I got my driver's license. So I was on a high. I went back to Arizona to kind of deal with some of my personal stuff because I still have all of my personal items in Arizona. So I go back there to my storage just to kind of visit and kind of get some things from it, gather some things and whatever. So I did that for my birthday, right? And then um fast forward a little bit, I had decided around April, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm in a good space. I think I'm ready to date again. So I joined Tammy. And so I hopped on the site just to kind of see, like, hey, what's around me, whatever, right? I'm like, I'm just, I just, sometimes I join dating sites just to kind of see what's around me, like what kind of women are around me, um, and like what kind of energies are, looming out there and who's looking for what. Um, I feel like even at 37, I can still be kind of naive as far as like the people out there. But I wasn't thinking that at the time. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna fish around and see what's out there. So, I copy and post, copy and paste, whatever my little description of myself that I always put in my bios and my dating bios if I'm gonna, be on the websites or whatever. And literally within like 24 to 48 hours of me making the account on Tammy, I get a message from a from Jewel. And I'm like, okay, cool. Um, I'm not gonna go into detail because I don't fully remember the conversations we were having like on the app because that was so long ago. That was like early April. But I'm gonna kind of try to gloss over enough to give enough of detail to set the stage for everything. But I remember we were kind of just chatting or whatever, and I remember writing in my bio, I think maybe like night two that I made the account. I remember putting something in my bio like must like lesbian sex. Now, the reason why I did that is because the bisexuals, I'm going to be honest, the bisexuals, it's like they just want to be with a woman for one night or whatever. They just want to have a hookup. And I was trying to avoid that. So I'm like, must like lesbian sex. Like, cause baby, if you're not comfortable in your sexuality and full on lesbian sex, like you're not gonna be comfortable with being with me long term because I am I'm not a lesbian fully, but I consider myself like homo flexible. I'm mostly homosexual, but I also do enjoy men as well. Sometimes, like occasionally. So that's where the homo flexible comes in, right? So I put that in my bio, and I remember one of the first things she said to me, Jewel was like, I love lesbian sex. And I was like, ding, ding, ding. Yes, bitch. Same. I was just like, LMAO. I forgot I put that in my bio or whatever. Because I totally forgot I had that in my bio by the time she like hit me up. Because I was just doing it on some goofy shit, you know? Like, you know, if you like lesbian sex, then you won't get tired of me, you know? And so that's why I put it in my bio. And so she hit me up with that, and that just it took it from there, right? So we were chatting, we were talking or whatever. I don't fully remember the conversations on the app, but I do remember after maybe 24 hours or so, we took it from the app and we started texting. And the most vivid thing I remember is the first day we started texting. I remember I ended up in the GI. I don't know how to word this so that it makes sense, but I remember I was in GI that day, which is like the part of SPD where they do the gastrointestinal scopes and stuff like that. So I already knew I was gonna be able to like chat with her a lot more because usually if we're over there in that section of SPD, like we're alone and we're not monitored as much, and I can be on my phone more or I can text or whatever, and then I have my watch that I also text off of. So I remember we got off the app, and I remember like early part of the day. So I usually work second shift, which is 3 to 11:30, right? So I remember somewhere we were texting pretty early um in the day. And then the most vivid conversation I remember having, one of the very first conversations over text message, I was at work and I was telling her that I am a student. And so she, off the bat, she expressed, "Oh no, I don't date students." And so I'm texting her back real fast and I'm just like, "But I'm not your student because." So let me backtrack a little bit. She said she don't like students, right? And so I'm just trying to text back real quick and I'm trying to clean it up and I'm just kind of like, you know, I am a student, but I'm like, right now I'm just trying to retake some classes in order to get into the program that I want to, but I'm technically not a student. I'm just retaking classes right now that are too old to be accepted by the program. But I probably won't be admitted into the program for at least 2 to 3 years because that's how long the wait list is. And so that's how I was trying to clean it up. And then she expressed to me, I think at some point I asked her, "Oh, like, what do you do?" And she said, "Oh, she's in research and education or something like that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then at some point, we couldn't talk anymore because she was like, "Oh, I have class." And I was like, "Oh, you're in school like me too." So I'm thinking that we're like connecting on that level. And then she's like, "No, I'm an instructor," or something like that. I don't know. It was so long ago, like I don't have any of those text messages anymore to even reference because I deleted everything. But um it went something like that, and I thought we were connecting, but then she was like, "I don't feel comfortable with you being a student." And I'm like, because at this point I had asked her like what she does and she told me she was like an instructor. um I was like, "But I'm not your student, so I don't understand why you would feel uncomfortable with that." And then it got into this whole spiel about like she really went on and on about like how she would date people and they would use her in order to get good grades and all this and that. And none of, like, my whole mind was blown when she explained all of this because I'm like, I would never use somebody to get a good grade. I can get good grades on my own. I don't need nobody for that. Like, I'm like, I can't even believe that somebody even did that to you because it never even crossed my mind. And that was the beginning of me trying to reassure her constantly, 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 over and over again that I am not this person she pegs me to be. And so it's this is the beginning of this parasitic energy that she embedded in me to constantly feed her proof and trying to prove myself. And this parasitic energy that she embedded in me, this went on for 2 months straight, and that was the beginning of it. But I want to set the stage and I want to show how it began because I want to be honest about it and the things that either I overlooked or I was just trying to reassure that, like, I'm not that person. Like, you're never going to get that energy from me. And it never was good enough. It never was good enough. And now that I'm looking back at it and I'm reflecting, it was never good enough. No amount of, "Hey, I'm not going to be this scary person to you. I'm not going to do these things to you." This replayed itself over and over and over and over. And I want to try and capture every single moment of it as much as I can remember. But yeah, that was the very beginning. She kind of made me feel bad for being a student, and so That was the first time I felt like, okay, I have to adjust myself. And that was the first time I thought to myself, okay, shut down everything about you being a student and don't talk about it. Don't express it to her, because she literally would tell me, you know, don't complain about your teachers, don't complain about school to me, don't talk to me about school, none of that. And I want you to put a pin in that, because that's going to come up later on for something that happened later on in the situationship. Put a pin in that. She told me, don't ever um don't talk to me about your schooling. Don't express how you feel about your teachers. Like, I couldn't express that part of me with her, because I felt like it was a nuisance to her. As her being an instructor herself, I could not express those parts of myself. So I shut it down. I shut it all the way down. And I reminded myself, don't ever talk about school. Don't ever talk about what I have going on with school. Don't express myself about it. Don't, none of it. None of it. I shut it down. I shut it down, right? So moving on past that, after we kind of, I felt like we got past that point where, like, the whole education thing, and I'm like, I'm not your student or whatever. Then this is going to be hard for me to, like, chronologically make sure I'm expressing myself, but I think I'm going to have to take many stops on these videos in order to continue on, so I can remember how things went. But I think the most, I think the next thing that really happened, like, we were just kind of chatting and we were getting deep. At some point, I noticed that we were having a lot of conversations while I was at work, and they would get sexual. At one point, they did started to get very sexual, even while I was at work. And it seemed like she had no regards for the boundaries of me being at work. But put a pin in it, because she always wanted me to have boundaries with her when it came to her being at work or doing something important. But put a pin in that, because when I was at work, she would do some fucked up things to me and make me be in a bad mood. Not, I shouldn't say make me. I shouldn't say that, because I am responsible for my own behaviors and my own emotions. So I would say things would happen while I was at work, conversations or whatever, to put me in bad spaces. But we're going to put a pin in that, and we're going to come to the next video once I pin out where to go from here.